allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Can I get a roll call?
Mr. Cook?
Here.
Mr. D'Adriano?
Here.
Mr. Logan?
Here.
Ms. Smith?
Here.
Supervisor Williams?
Here. Counselor, would you like to read the public hearing notice?
Certainly. Public notice is hereby given that there has been introduced before the Town Board of the Town of Patterson, New York, on January 11, 2023, an amendment to Patterson Town Code Chapter 142 entitled Taxation, which amendment will amend Section 142-1.e, Section 142-11, and Section 142-12 to increase the income eligibility for senior citizens and persons with disabilities. Now, therefore, pursuant to Section 20 of the Municipal Home Rule Law, the Town Board of the Town of Patterson, New York, will hold a public hearing on the aforesaid amendment at the town offices, 1142 Route 311, Patterson, New York, on January 25, 2023, at 7 o'clock p.m. in the evening of that day, or as soon thereafter as may be held, at which time all persons interested therein shall be heard. The Town Board will make every effort to assure that the hearing is accessible to persons with disabilities. Anyone requiring special assistance and/or reasonable accommodations should contact the town clerk.
Thank you. I believe that adequately summarizes what we're looking to do. I would ask that any member of the public, if you have any comments or questions on the proposed local law, if you would approach the mic and give your name and address for the record. Nobody's jumping up. All right, hearing none, I would turn to the members of the public joining us by Zoom. If there's anybody joining us by Zoom who wishes to ask any questions or make any comments on the local law that we're proposing here to amend the senior and people with disabilities tax deduction, if you would unmute, state your name for the record and your address and make your comment or question. Hearing none, I'll turn to the town board. Does any member of the town board have any questions or comments on this?
It's like opposing ice cream or puppies, you know, this is the kind of thing you can't exactly.
All right, I'll entertain a motion to close the public hearing.
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right, would somebody like to audit some bills?
Sure, I'd like to make a motion to approve abstract number 1 dated January 13th, 2023 in the amount of $515,973.48. So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
We have a couple of budget transfers tonight.
Okay. We have budget transfer request number 48. Is requested to reallocate funds for the highway machinery contractual for additional necessary, due to additional necessary costs. And that's moving $9,400 from machinery fuel usage expense account to the machine contractual expense account, and at $9,400. So I'll make a motion to town board approve budget transfer request number 48. So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
One more. Budget transfer request number 49, and transfers requested to allocate funds for the recycling contractual for the increased tipping fees. And we're moving $38 from recycling utilities to recycling contractual $38. So I'll make a motion that the town board approve budget transfer request number 49. So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye. That's a big tip.
Couldn't resist.
There you go. All right. Mary, you're up.
Okay, at the January 5th, 2023 Planning Board meeting, the board recommended that the town board to accept the reduced bond amount of $58,619.07 as recommended by the town engineer for the Watchtower Visitors Center application for their site plan. So I have in front of me a resolution that I'd like to enter into the record as though read to reduce the bond amount from the amount of $117,283.14, and accept the recommendation from the planning board to the amount of $58,619.07 for the Visitors Center site plan. So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, the second item is a building department request refund. Burke Energy, as a contractor, had put an application fee in to do work on an above-ground fuel tank. The homeowner has decided not to move forward on the project, so we will be making a refund of an application fee, a refund of the permit that was requested, minus the $75 application fee. So I'd like to make a motion to do a refund of $125 to Burke Energy. So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Is this one mine too? Nope.
Nope. Peter?
All right, the first item I have is a request from Matt Chabarro from Rec Center. He gave us a memo that states back in October we approved hiring patched officials for full court games for the 6th and 7th grade division for the basketball games. They have discussed that they were originally going to have the 4th and 5th graders use a half court, and they wouldn't need the referees, but they decided that they wanted to do the full court games where they would need patched referees. So he's looking to approve $55 for patch referees for the 4th and 5th graders, as well as the referee assigner, Don Pompa, will receive a fee of $75 for this season. So I'd like to approve the $75 for Don Pompa as a referee assigner, and approve the $55 for single patch referees for the 4th and 5th grade division full court games. So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Next, I have a request from Matt Chabarro for some t-shirts. I'd like to approve $1,200 for to Extreme Designs for these t-shirts. So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Another memo from Matt Chabarro. He's been busy down there, I guess. I'll just read this. Oh, so he's looking to hire a recreation assistant, Christopher Bizignano. Chris is currently a student at Western Connecticut State University and graduated from Brewster High School. He was a varsity wrestler and has been involved in a number of wrestling camps. He has worked in summer camp in Westchester and grew up playing in our flag football program. He has weekly and weekend availability and will be an asset to our flag football and basketball programs. He'll also be able to cover the front desk as needed. Chris comes highly recommended and will be a perfect fit for the recreation center. I like to see these young people grow up at the rec center and then getting jobs later on. So he's requesting the pay rate of $13 per hour. So I'd like to make a motion to hire Christopher Bizignano at the rate of $13 per hour. So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Next, I have a request from the county. I'll read this memo for Michael Budzinski. As you're aware, Joseph Ferrari, the Putnam County electrician, has filed an electrical permit application with the town of Patterson for safety inspection for NICEC to turn the electrical meter back on for the small building adjacent to the Putnam County EMS radio tower, located at 232 Route 292 in Patterson. This office, on behalf of the Putnam County, requests that the electrical permit application fee be waived for this project. Okay, so I'd like to make a motion to waive the electrical permit application fee, which is
Should be $75.
$275.
No, 75.
$75. So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
That is all I have.
Charles?
Next, we have what could fall under the title of unfunded mandates. We have before us some memos relative to the real property tax services, a bill passed up in Albany that requires municipalities to mail out a second notice relative to senior citizen reductions. And I think you should note that the first notice has been going out on the tax bills. And second is that the law that was passed, there's no penalties if you ignore what they're asking us to do. So I would ask Jamie, if I may, yeah, I know there's been some municipalities have stated that, you know, they're just going to ignore it, et cetera. What's your take on this?
Well, this has just been passed, so we don't know what the penalty or the ramifications are going to be, which is one of the issues. The other issue is that we actually send out notice twice because it's on both of the tax bills. But the way the law is written, that wouldn't qualify because it's not at least 30 days. It says 30 days before the taxable status date. So I don't, you know, as this moves forward, we might find that they either amend the law or there's guidance issued from the state saying, no, the second tax bill counts as the second notice. But at this point, the way it's written, it would indicate that we have to send a notice exactly 30 days before the taxable status date, which, like I said, the tax bill technically isn't exactly that 30 days. So.
Right.
It will be interesting going forward to see if the department issues any kind of ramifications for it. You know, if there's an issue of if someone contests the exemption because they didn't get the second notice, you know, if they're be deemed to have qualified. Things of that nature are potential, but at this point we don't know what they're going to say because it's so new and frankly poorly drafted.
So if I could just add in there, the state has been requested, you know, guidance on this, and their response is go see your municipal attorneys.
Yeah.
Yes, I saw in the backup even that the essentially Board of County Assessors reached out to them and said this is so poorly drafted and you're not giving us the guidance we needed.
And this thing can cost anywhere $1,500 to $2,000 per mailing, and they passed this in January. Of course, we passed our budget in November, so, I mean, it's just not good, but anyhow.
Well, and the good news for Patterson, we're a fairly small municipality, so you're right, the cost, we've got a quick cost here that we had to throw together pretty, quickly, of just under $1,500 for the town to do this third mailing. You know, but you get some of the bigger municipalities, I know down in Long Island, they were beside themselves because the amount of money they were gonna have to spend based on the population they had, was just phenomenal.
Sure. Okay. Well, we do have this, we do have 3 quotes to do this. One quote was only for printing, and another company just said for mailing. And then we have XL Printing and Carmel. It talks about printing and mailing. And their quote is $1,656.
So if you combine these two, that's what you've got.
Okay. Late breaking news. Take this.
Well,
No, I know. If you take their quote for the mailing and the printing, it comes up to $1,489. So I'll make a motion that the town board approve XL Printing. Right? Oh, we gotta do them separate.
you don't have to do them separate, but this is one quote, this is combined one quote.
So,
This is for the printing, this is for the mailing, this is printing and mailing.
okay, but we're gonna go with XL?
Well, this is the cheaper number. I mean, you can if
Oh.
you think that Excel.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Okay. Oh, all right. So then, hold on. I'll make the motion that the town board approve Brown Printing Services in Kent, New York, to print up the second notices at a cost of $196. And is that LI Mailing Services in Brewster to do the mailing at a cost of $1,293. Okay. So,
That's LJ.
LJ, it's just
LJ,
horrible.
I'm sorry.
No, it's
Okay.
not your fault, it's terrible font that they're using.
Yeah, all right, for a total of $1,489. So, again, Brown Printing for $196, LJ Mailing for $1293. So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I'm good.
Sean?
Okay, next up, we're happy to have some guests with us this evening. David Frost is here, and he asked to speak with the board about some potential changes for Patterson Community Church. And
Thank you.
good evening.
Thank you.
How are you?
Good, thank you.
Thank you.
That's just a copy of the letter that I actually want to read to you. This is, I guess, just an appeal for, so that you folks would understand and some of the challenges that we're up against as a church. We're currently utilizing all three of our buildings in service to our community. We have one small bathroom each in the two buildings across from the church sanctuary building, and no septic or water access at all in the church itself. The two buildings across the street are on a common septic system which is adjacent to the Great Swamp, and per the Putnam County Health Department cannot be expanded but rather need to be added into the town sewer district. These two buildings across the street from the church house our community thrift shop outreach and our emergency food pantry program. These two programs provide broad support to an increasing number of individuals and families in our community, due both to the lingering economic effects of COVID-19 as well as the current overall state of the economy. The church building is used for worship as well as for hosting larger dinners, community events, classes, concerts, etc. Not having bathroom or water access in that building limits who's able to be served by the church, including a number of senior citizens and a local agency serving individuals with disabilities, all of whom are not able to negotiate the traffic on Route 311, and particularly at night. Previously, our next door neighbors, Steve and Lenny Soro, promised to pay to have the sewer extended to all three of our buildings if they were able to gain access themselves from the distribution point that is across the street from them at Covington Greens. The Town Square Restaurant and Deli currently have large tanks under the parking lot that need to be pumped out frequently due to their additional business expansion over the past several years. Unfortunately, with the recent sale of Soros, that offer to the church is no longer in place. In addition, our state Senator Pete Harcum was looking for funding to assist in meeting this need. However, that money is no longer available as well. We will continue to seek funding assistance from other sources such as this, but are appealing to the town to at least put this matter under consideration. In short, we're asking for the town to seriously consider expanding the sewer district down the street some 500 feet from Covington Greens distribution point to include our three buildings, thereby enabling us to greatly expand our outreach and our service to the community. In addition, the Episcopal Church next door to us would benefit as well, as they are working on leasing out that building to local community groups who would also serve the community. Just recently, Carmel Central School has discontinued their continuing education program, stating that local agencies need to pick up that responsibility. We are ready to do that if we're able to expand our building utility through inclusion in the town's sewer district. Thank you for your careful consideration of our request. Please let us know how else we might assist in moving this request forward, further expanding our ability to serve our local community. With that, it's really just wanted to bring that to your attention. And if there's any questions or any thoughts you may have, I would entertain them at this time.
I was going to ask, you said Pete Harcum was looking into funding opportunities, and it seems like it's a great opportunity to look for other grant funding resources to help push this forward. The logistics of it in terms of expanding the sewer district, obviously I would ask our town supervisor to weigh in on what that looks like and what the potential for the community would be on that project. How that's a whole nother, we're doing this currently for expansion on Dorset Hollow to Front Street, and there's a lot of engineering that's required with that, and certainly a lot of money. We're talking about existing properties that can't meet the sewer demand of the current use, is what you're saying,
Right.
David. And now we're talking about a potential of expansion on those uses, which isn't possible without the town sewer being connected, is what you're saying, correct?
Right.
Yeah.
So this all needs to start with an engineering analysis of what the best method of providing a sewer system out there and the potential probable costs of doing that expansion. Certainly bringing the sewer line down from Covington Greens is one possibility. Another possibility is coming in, that I've mentioned to Dave, from Patterson Village. They have a pump station there, and we potentially could directional bore under the wetlands if the DEC would allow us to do that. In both instances, that sewer line extension would require an easement across the private property, because both Covington Greens and Patterson Village are, of course, private property on which the town has an easement currently to collect their sewage and take it to the plant. Once we had the engineering analysis and decided on the best way to go, we would need to then, identify how the project would be paid for. I would say ballpark, this is probably gonna cost between $500,000 and $600,000 if we can directionally bore over Patterson Village, from Patterson Village. Maybe a little bit more, but in that ballpark if we were coming up from Covington Greens. Trying to find that money is always the challenge. And then, of course, then we just would need to expand the district. We would, do a map plan and report. We would have a public hearing. We would have to make a findings that it was the best interest of everybody to expand the district.
Right.
And then we go build it. That's the
Yeah.
logistics.
Right.
Doing it.
And the site as it's currently laid out, for some of the potential plans you were talking about, is parking an issue for in other words, forget about septic for a minute, let's talk other logistics of the site for expanding you're talking about a soup kitchen, the small farming or produce production that's on site. When those things are up and running, is it just a matter of the scheduling being shifted so that you don't have church at the same time as an event, at the same time as school, at the same time as some of these other things? Are you able to handle that?
I think we are. At this time, there's quite a bit of use of the parking lot by the restaurant next door.
Mm-hmm.
Most of their employees park there during the day.
Oh.
But we are currently running the thrift shop, the food pantry, and church, and the garden, and the farm stand, and the chicken barbecues with the existing parking.
Yeah.
That parking has expanded, not so much by us, but because sort of those cars started parking on places that weren't formerly parking lots,
Right.
Which currently are.
Yeah.
There's also more space there on opposite where it currently is. If we needed to add parking, we were talking about that at one point. So I think at this point the parking is adequate. We haven't had any problems with that. We have signs that say church event parking only when we ask Soros folks to stay in their lot or to use our lots across the street.
Okay. There seems to be a big emphasis on a lot of grant money being geared towards solving some of the problems we have in Putnam County with food insecurity, right? We're talking about the grant that
Yeah,
Cornell.
I've spoken with Cooperative
Yeah,
Extension on
and that program is more geared towards directly paying the people who produce food,
Right.
right? Subsidizing farming.
Right, subsidizing the farmer
and then getting that food to the people who need it.
That's correct.
But there may be within that community of people that know about the grant funding, we might want to try to put some emphasis on, can we get grant funding to pursue a project like this, with the end result being not as much the production but a distribution site for Patterson, because you're already doing that by way of a soup kitchen and the pantry, correct?
That's correct.
So that might be a great tie-in to try to promulgate future expansion of that site as a distribution site. But in order to do so, you need certain logistical support, which would
Right.
be, the sewer tie-in to support the people coming to the site and the workers, et cetera. So maybe that's an avenue that we can approach. And just because Pete Harcum that funding that he might have had in mind might have dried up, it doesn't mean we can't still pursue that with him.
Right, I asked them to look into other avenues
Yeah.
because that was, I think, a fiscal year type of
Yeah.
problem. And so I said, well, please get back to me and let me know if there are any other
Yeah.
possibilities.
Even if it's just to initiate the engineering evaluation, we don't look at it as the whole nut of 500,000 or 600,000, but
Right.
hey, if we could get $25,000 to start the ball rolling in the right direction to evaluate the, this is not it's not a sprint, it's a marathon, right? It's an orderly process that we have to go through. But I think getting it moving along that direction, even for the benefit of the Soros complex, for commercial development, we know they've always been limited on sewage out there and always, they've always maintained, but it would benefit from town sewer as well.
Well, there are many areas within the town that would benefit.
Yeah.
Way back in the 1990s, I worked with the town engineer. We proposed a 300,000 gallon per day wastewater treatment facility to accommodate South Street and coming right up 311. I flatly got turned down by the DEP saying they'd never approve it.
Wow. You can have the best of intentions and still have to get through those processes.
Yeah. Dave, it appears that moving this forward really comes down to an issue of funding and where we're going to get those funds from.
Okay.
Certainly, we've had great difficulty, especially with the escalating costs and trying to balance out the town's budget. And I've worked closely with the town board, who have been great about minimizing the tax impact as we go forward on the budget onto our taxpayers, but there isn't a lot of meat left on the bone. There's not a lot of money left over. We've been fairly successful at moving projects along within the town, through grants. Pretty much every major project that we're doing right now is being funded at least 50%, if not entirely, by grant funds we found in other areas. A big part of that was Mary Ellen Odell and now Kevin Burns' commitment to provide some of their ARPA funding and share sales tax. And hoping that County Executive Burns is going to continue that policy going forward and sharing their sales tax. That will be a great help, because it's my intent, if I'm still here, that we're not going to use that to offset the taxes as much as we are to help move the town forward with special projects. And this could certainly be one of them that we can fund,
Okay.
as we go forward. I sat with the town board, I think it was late last year, and we identified priority projects that we were looking for funding for. And we took a look at the funding we did have, and we were about, at that point, between $500,000 and $600,000 short of everything we wanted to try to do. So we're still looking for a few more dollars here and there. But I know this has been a priority for you for quite some time. We've had this conversation before, and it's just a question of finding the funding. I've been trying to get a water system on Front Street for many, many years. And fortunately, recently, we finally found, using the ARPA funds, the ability to do that, but it's taken us years to get there. So, I hear you, I understand the need.
Yeah, as you said, we've had conversations. I just wanted the rest of y'all to hear it. So
Sure.
thank you for your
Yeah.
attention and your
Thank you.
time. And let's pursue this funding together.
Absolutely.
Sounds good.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you, and thank you for all you guys do for our community.
Thank you.
Great
It's,
programs you guys do.
It's a labor of love, and we see the results. So thank
Nothing
you all.
worthwhile as easy as it.
No.
Well, thank you. Next, we have a item from our Veterans Park chairperson, Mary Butler, which essentially is dealing with the requests for future treatments for the park pond. They've been fairly successful with the plan that they had in place last year, which was a combination of treatments, and we are looking for essentially renewing what was done last year, which would be 2 algal treatments of Cutrine Plus, and that's for limnology, information, freshwater ecology, for an amount of $1,400 for the 2023 season. So I'll make a motion, we approve that request As submitted, so moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
So everybody knows I have talked to Laura Russo with the Putnam Lake, who chairs the Putnam Lake Park District, and they are not looking to move forward with algaecide treatments this year.
Okay.
Okay. All right, so first on my agenda is a resolution of adoption of local law number 2 for 2023. This is the adoption of the law that we had a public hearing on at the beginning of the meeting, which will amend Chapter 142 to increase the income eligibility for senior citizens and persons with disability. It is a phased-in approach where the income eligibility levels increase from 2023 through 2025. I'd like to move this resolution, ask that it be entered into the record as though read.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, second on my agenda is something that we had talked about during budget time, where we felt that there was a need to change the management down at the rec center and provide a hierarchy of individuals so that we just didn't have one person at the top and everybody at the bottom. And so I've got a resolution here which would create the position essentially of recreation leader in the town of Patterson and appoint 3 individuals in it. Something has come up today that I need to apprise the board about before I move this resolution, and I need to do that in executive session. So I would like to ask that an executive session be added to the agenda, and we can do that at the end without objection.
Second.
Okay. With that, we're down to other business. We do have a few items that came in late. That over there. All right, the first one that came up was for the Alpine Water District quite some time ago, and this goes back quite some time ago. We had a repair up at the Alpine Water District for the generator. We had approved an amount of $1,423.50. While they were doing the work, they found additional repairs that needed to be made, and we have actually negotiated those repairs down compared to what the initial bill was, to $984.72. So the total amount for the repair on that generator would have been $2,408.22. We have a memo here from Dennis Mays, who is head of building and maintenance, recommending we approve that. Does anybody have any questions?
Necessary.
Do what you gotta do.
So I'll move that we approve the increased cost of $984.72 for a total cost for the repair of the generator at the Alpine Water District of $2,408.22. So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Anybody else want to jump in?
We have a request from our Patterson Fire Department to add some new members. This would be for Michael Silvers and Jessica Silvers. So I'll make a motion that we ask that this resolution be entered into the record as though read, appointing those 2 members. So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
We have a conference request for Bob McCarthy to attend the Westchester County Center Continuing Education. This is mandatory for building inspectors. The cost is $225. Make a motion that we approve that cost for that training. So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right. We received notice, this is something that I've been working on for quite some time now. And so the background on this is we have a Superfund site out on Cornwall Hill Road across from the Patterson Highway Department. It's called Cross County Sanitary Kessman Landfill Site. In the testing that the DEC has been doing regularly, they found PCBs were coming out of the back of the site, And so they are planning on removing the area of contamination and rebuilding the wetland back there. And they were originally going to do this back in 2020, then we had COVID. By the time we got through COVID, the contractor was looking for a significant increase in their contract price. DEC said no, and so they started all over again, and now hopefully this spring they're going to go out there and clean everything up. There is a lot of information I've asked that it be posted up on our website. I put it up on my Facebook page. Pete, I'll send it to you. Can you put it on other Facebook pages? Sure. I know you're great with that. And just get the information out to the public that there is going to be a cleanup of the Superfund site, an additional cleanup. I would tell you, the crane that they, not the crane, but the excavator, they put a long reach excavator at the highway department that sat there over the summer. That was a huge machine they're going to use to do this with. So, all right. You want to do this one?
I'll take this one.
Take it.
The Putnam County Bureau of Emergency Services is offering an EMT refresher course and the original EMT course. So the EMT refresher course starts January 31st, and it's on Tuesdays and Thursdays from 6 to 10 p.m. And the EMT original course starts February 7th, and that will be on Tuesdays and Thursdays from 6 to 10. To register, visit the putnamcounty.com/life, or the Putnam County Department of Emergency Services website, or you can call 845-808-4000. So it's great to be great to get some more EMTs refreshed so they continue being EMTs, and it's great to have some new EMTs trained in the county. So.
And if you take the course and you want to supplement your income, you put an application in to work for the town of Patterson. We offer great retirement benefits
After you get some experience first.
after you get some experience. Can we do it?
You want me to do it? Okay, on February 11th at the 1027 Route 311 Patterson, we have the American Legion. Please help us remember the extraordinary heroism of the 4 chaplains who died aboard the USS Dorchester, February 3rd, 1943. I think we have, the point of contact is Andy DiStefano, reading this backwards. His
Good job.
email is give it up?
Email's fine. I wouldn't go any further than email though.
That's all I was gonna say.
Okay, good.
There's nothing else on the email.
So,
JLDESTEFANO@AOL.com. The 4 chaplains.
board member have any other business they wish to bring up at this time?
Nope.
Open it up to public recognition. Is any member joining us here tonight have any comments or questions for the town board?
Hi everyone, it's Stacy Dumont. How are you? I just wanted to thank David Frost for the tireless work he does for the community of Patterson and for this meaningful conversation that you all had here tonight for the benefit of Patterson residents. So thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Stacy.
All right, being as we've opened it up to those people joining us by Zoom, is anybody else joining us by Zoom wish to make any comments? If you would unmute, state your name and address for the record. All right, hearing none, I'll make a motion to go into executive session.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.